What's up, Transformers fans? Welcome to week 15 of Moonbase 84's celebration of 40 years of Grimlock and the Dinobots. Last week we talked about my favorite iteration of the Dinobot faction, that being the fall of Cybertron video game Dinobots. As I mentioned in that video, the fall of Cybertron game isn't the only time we got to see that version of Grimlock and crew. But to get more of the FOC Dino goodness, we have to look to the comics published by IDW. Today, we're going to check out how an elite Autobot unit becomes the Dinobots in this universe by checking out IDW's Transformers Fall of Cybertron comic. The book serves as a prequel to the game, and as I said, tells the story of how the Dinobots become the Dinobots in this universe. Quickly before we do, if you could hit the like button, subscribe, and all that jazz, I'd really appreciate it. The story starts off with Grimlock and his team in the heat of battle. His inner dialogue seems, well, grim. They've been fighting wave after wave of Decepticons, struggling to conserve energon. He notes that the Decepticons don't seem to have that problem, which prompts him to send a member of his team to investigate why. We also get the name of the team pre-Dinobot, which is the Lightning Strike Coalition, and to me the name is both cool and lame at the same time. Really though, it doesn't matter because we know it won't be long until they become the Dinobots. Grimlock's inner dialogue continues as the team continues the fight, giving us a glimpse of his thoughts on his team members Snarl, Slug, and Sludge. We then cut to Iacon High Command, where we see Perceptor, Jazz, and Optimus Prime monitoring the battle. Perceptor notes that the Decepticons can't breach their defenses. Jazz notes that's because Grimlock and his team are cutting them apart. Prime admires Grimlock's prowess in battle, but notes that he can't see the long view and orders Grimlock to fall back, claiming he's using up too much energon and costing too many lives to fight on. Grimlock begrudgingly complies to Prime's order, noting that Prime thinks he's thinking of the big picture, but it's only led to a prolonged stalemate with the Decepticons and only hurts Cybertron. In fact, Grimlock fears Prime's unwillingness to do whatever it takes is going to tear Cybertron apart. So we get to see two viewpoints from two great leaders, and these opposing views are usually present between all of the iterations of Prime and Grim. I feel, given the scenario we have here with the fight for Cybertron, these opposite views are even more impactful. Also, it's interesting that Prime seems to respect Grimlock, even though he disagrees with him, while I'm not so sure Grimlock respects Prime as a leader, even though he seems to mostly follow Prime's orders. And we do get to see Grimlock's feelings on Prime on display back at base, where Prime scolds Grimlock for being reckless and Grimlock derides Prime for not being on the front line and for his strategies. As Grimlock storms away from the debriefing with Prime, he's informed that he has an incoming message. It's a message from Swoop, and he says that he's found out where the Decepticons are getting their energon before getting abruptly cut off. Grimlock rallies his team to save their comrade. The book then flashes back to Swoop and his mission of locating the source of the Decepticons' energon. His investigation brings him to a tower in the Sea of Rust. Infiltrating the tower, Swoop spies on a conversation between Shockwave and Starscream. It seems that the mad scientist of the Decepticons has been using the tower to supply the Decepticons with energon and to conduct his cruel experiments. Shockwave has also discovered the Insecticon horde and has brought them under his control to join the war for the Decepticons. Unfortunately, Swoop is discovered and we see him send his urgent transmission before he's quickly overrun by the Insecticons. Shifting back to the present, Grimlock and the team make their approach to the tower. I think it's cool we get a glimpse of their pre-Dinobot alt modes, which all appear to be tank-like attack vehicles, which definitely makes sense. The team asks Grimlock what the plan is, and Grimlock says that they are going to sneak past the Decepticon defenses and stealthily rescue Swoop. I think it's Snarl that asks Grimlock if he's being serious. And I absolutely love Grimlock's reply when he answers no, they're going to do what they always do and leave no Decepticons standing as they charge the tower, which is awesome. Internally, Grimlock notes to himself that his aggressiveness isn't because of a lack of strategy, but his way is better than Prime's idle approach. So again, the two leaders' opposing viewpoints are highlighted. As they breach the tower, the team finds themselves besieged by Insecticons. Using Sludge as the point man, they plow through them in their alt modes and find a captured Swoop that definitely has seen better days. Freeing Swoop, Grimlock decides that they need to fall back and report to Prime because something big is going on in this tower. I like Grimlock's decision here because it shows that while his methods are aggressive, he does not blindly throw him or his team into battle. Before they can make their retreat, they are met by Shockwave, who says that he has been monitoring their every move and knows that they came here alone, against orders and without backup. He notes that the 5 of the Autobots' most dangerous warriors will make perfect test subjects for his experiments. Then the Insecticon horde overwhelms Grimlock and the team. Grimlock remains the last of his team to still stand and charges Shockwave. Unfortunately, Grimlock realizes too late that he has underestimated Shockwave's fighting abilities, as the Decepticon, along with the Insecticons, are able to subdue him. With the whole team captured, Shockwave reveals that the team has played right into his hands. Not only does he get them as highly prized test subjects, but also their absence has hurt the Autobots' defense of the Decepticon siege of Iacon. Then we see several disturbing panels describing the process of Shockwave's experiments on Grimlock as he tries to break Grimlock's body as well as his mind. All the while, Shockwave tells Grimlock what he's doing to him, that he's found a planet called Earth with these creatures, and that's basically what he's going to turn Grimlock and his team into. All through the process, Grimlock struggles to remember who he is. He notes he tries to speak what he's thinking, but the words won't come. But he continues to think to himself he'll always remember Shockwave until the day comes when he scraps him. Grimlock never gives up trying to resist Shockwave's control as his mind breaks down. It's important to note that while the experiments are definitely affecting Grimlock's mind, he is beaten for the moment, but not broken. The story wraps up where we first see Grimlock in the game. Grimlock gets free and starts finding and freeing his team. Shockwave has placed an inhibitor chip in Grimlock, which prevents him from transforming at will. As Grimlock fights through Shockwave's forces and frees his friends, we see his rage build up, and on the last page, that rage spills out and he finally turns into the T-Rex mode, which is awesome, just like it is when you get to do that the first time in the video game. So that is how the Dinobots become the Dinobots in the War and Fall of Cybertron video game universe. I know technically I should say aligned continuity, but that continuity is anything but aligned. I love this book. The art is pretty good, and it's great to see how the events unfolded to get where we see Grimlock and the Dinobots in the game. One thing that I wished we got more of was moments with the other Dinobots to flesh out their characters. Grimlock is my favorite Transformers character, and this is a great Grimlock story. Also, this version of Shockwave gives me the chills. That will wrap up this week's episode celebrating 40 years of Grimlock and the Dinobots. Next week, we're continuing the Fall of Cybertron story with the Rage of the Dinobots comic, also by IDW. Comment to let me know what you think of this version of Grimlock and the Dinobots, and as always, thanks for docking.